The story starts with a woman who was cleaning her closet. She came across a shocking discovery. Inside the closet was a hidden door, secured with a strange type of lock, engraved with mysterious symbols. The woman began to suspect that her grandmother had been hiding some secrets. But now that her grandmother was no longer in this world, she would have to uncover the answers herself. The woman's name was Rosario, and since childhood, she had lived a comfortable and happy life like a princess in a fairy tale. As she grew up, Rosario became a successful stockbroker. But then an upheaval struck her family. Her parents got divorced, and Rosario went on to live with her father, Oscar. Sometime later, her mother also passed away due to illness. One day, because of strong icy winds, it became nearly impossible for vehicles to move on the roads. So Rosario decided to return home by metro. On the way, she received a call from the caretaker of her grandmother's house. When she picked up, it wasn't her grandmother's voice. The caretaker informed her that her grandmother had recently passed away, and due to the severe weather, her body could not be sent to the morgue. So he requested Rosario to come as soon as possible to take care of things. Hearing this news, Rosario immediately informed her father. Then she set out on foot toward her grandmother's house. Along the way, she checked her voicemail and was shocked to hear the voice of her deceased mother. She stopped in her tracks, frightened. When she turned around, she caught a glimpse of her mother in a dark corner. But the very next moment, she realized it was just her imagination. A little while later, she reached the base of her grandmother's apartment building, where the building's caretaker, Marty, came to receive her. As soon as Rosario stepped inside, she broke down in tears upon seeing her grandmother's body. She gently lifted the white sheet to see her grandmother's face one last time, but she saw that Grandma's body had turned black. Her eyes were open, and there were deep wounds on her hands. Just then, a noise came from the kitchen. When she went there, she saw that the kitchen was extremely dirty and full of insects. Rosario thought she should clean it up first. Just then, she heard the sound of an ambulance from outside. She thought it had come to take Grandma's body, but the ambulance didn't even stop there. Rosario immediately called the hospital, and they told her that they were responding to another emergency and would take Grandma's body on their way back. Now, Rosario was forced to wait there. As soon as she sat down, the house suddenly began to shake, and Grandma's body fell off the sofa. Terrified, she picked it up and took it to the bedroom. Meanwhile, a terrifying incident occurred. While Rosario was sitting near Grandma's body, she saw some insects. She took a cloth to brush them away, but one of them crawled into her hand and slowly made its way up her arm and into her ear. Rosario quickly grabbed a tweezer and pulled the insect out of her ear. After this incident, she was completely shaken. When she calmed down a bit, she noticed that Grandma's wardrobe was completely clean while the kitchen was in total disarray. She found it strange and began inspecting the wardrobe. That's when she found a hidden door inside the wardrobe, secured with a lock bearing strange symbols. Rosario was about to examine the lock closely, when suddenly, there was a loud knock at the door. It was Grandma's neighbor standing there. He had come to retrieve the air fryer he had lent her. Saying that, he tried to enter the house. Rosario promised him that if her grandma had borrowed anything, she would find it and return it and then close the door. A short while later, Joe knocked again. This time it was just about saying that there was something like a wound on Rosario's hand. When Rosario looked closely, she found a deep, burn-like mark on her palm. She immediately bandaged it using the first aid box. Just then, her eyes fell on her grandmother's feet. Wrapped around them was an iron wire, and hanging from it was a key. Rosario instantly remembered the lock on the cupboard. As soon as she inserted the key, the door opened. Inside, it was completely dark, scary, and silent. She moved ahead with a torch. After walking a short distance, she saw a small space that looked like a black magic altar. She cautiously moved forward and saw teeth, hair, and a used sanitary pad placed there. Seeing this made Rosario feel both disgusted and terrified. Just then, she heard a noise nearby. Turning around in fear, she ran out of there. Suddenly, all the lights in the house began to flicker. A strange chill spread through the house. Rosario wrote a note and decided to leave. But due to the heavy snowfall, cab services had been suspended, and she had to take the metro again. When she reached the underground metro station, a terrifying dog appeared in front of her. Frozen in fear, Rosario couldn't move forward and started to run. The dog chased after her. Somehow, she reached behind an iron door, but the dog grabbed hold of her jacket. To save her life, she had to let go of it. Rosario then returned once again to her grandmother's apartment. She started searching on her phone about that mysterious altar. She found out that it was an ancient black magic ritual connected to African and Latin traditions. A sacrifice is offered in an iron cauldron. Sometimes even human remains are used. In this black magic, the curse manifests as a specific mark on the body. When Rosario saw the imprint on her hand, she realized it was because of that. She got scared and immediately called her father and told him the whole story. Her father said, "Why would your grandmother do something like this? What enmity could she possibly have with her granddaughter?" But Rosario was convinced that perhaps her grandmother blamed her because she had gone to live with her father after the divorce and couldn't be there during her mother's final moments. Her father said he would come there soon and fix everything. He also told her not to go back into the house until he arrived, but Rosario had made up her mind. She couldn't rest until she broke the curse herself. She gathered her courage and once again entered the mysterious place through the wardrobe. There she saw that the iron cauldron was still there, but now a thick iron chain was tied to it. Rosario began to pull the chain with all her strength. Suddenly the ground began to shake, and a terrifying voice was heard from beneath the chain. Within moments, black decaying hands started emerging from the ground. After a great struggle, Rosario somehow managed to free herself from the iron chains and dodging the terrifying demon. She even managed to pull out the iron cauldron. Now she wanted to search on her phone for a way to break the curse. But unfortunately her phone battery died, and the phone turned off. Rosario went straight to her grandmother's room. Perhaps she would find a clue there. That's where she found an old mysterious book that described how to break the curse. It said that if the blood of both the one who cast the curse and the one who was cursed is poured together into the cauldron, the curse can be broken. Rosario hesitantly made a small cut on her finger and then did the same on her grandmother's finger, but not a single drop of blood came out of her grandmother's finger. Left with no choice, Rosario had to make a slightly deeper wound on her hand with the knife, which finally drew blood. But surprisingly, the method wasn't working. She panicked but didn't give up and started flipping through the book again. Just then, suddenly, her grandmother's corpse attacked her from behind. Rosario, acting quickly, hid under the bed. At that moment, a strange shadow emerged from the mattress and spewed thick red blood onto Rosario's face. Terrified, she ran and started wiping her face with a towel. Meanwhile, Joe came to the door again, asking for the old air fryer. Annoyed, Rosario said that her grandmother wouldn't be using such things at her age. But Joe replied that Rosario didn't really know her grandmother at all. Hearing this, Rosario paused. Maybe she really had never tried to understand her grandmother. Then Joe told her that her grandmother was very proud of her. Every day she prayed to God for Rosario's success in her career, for her dreams to come true. Joe said he could even hear her prayers through the walls. Hearing this, Rosario realized that her grandmother hadn't cursed her. Instead, perhaps she had made a deal with some demonic force so that Rosario's life could flourish. But her grandmother had to pay the price of that deal. The demon had trapped her soul and turned her into a wandering spirit. Rosario felt deep regret. When she read further in the book, she found out that once this pact was initiated, it could not be undone. There was only one way: to trap the demon permanently inside her grandmother's body. Gathering her courage, Rosario began a special ritual, as described in the book. But just then, the medical staff arrived at the door. Leaving the ritual incomplete, Rosario quickly took her grandmother's body back behind the hidden door and concealed it. When no one answered the door from inside, the building's caretaker, Marty, opened it with his key. When they didn't see the grandmother's body inside the house, they headed straight toward the bedroom. Meanwhile, in the hidden room, Rosario felt as though the demon was very close to her. Suddenly, the figure appeared and began strangling Rosario. She couldn't even scream. Marty, standing outside, heard a noise coming from the wardrobe. But when he opened the door, there was nothing there. Since no one could find the grandmother's corpse, everyone slowly left the place. Rosario somehow managed to compose herself and took the remaining clothes of her grandmother to look for more clues. She searched the surroundings but found no trace of the demon, nor of her grandmother's spirit. Suddenly, the entire house began to shake once more. As Rosario tried to sit down, she looked up and was shocked. Her grandmother's hanging corpse was swaying from the ceiling. She ran to try and save her grandmother, but couldn't do anything. Just as she turned around in despair, the grandmother's body suddenly fell and landed directly on top of Rosario. Rosario barely manages to free herself. She begins preparing to restart the ritual. But as soon as she starts chanting the incantation, strange things begin happening in the house again. Suddenly, all the lights in the house start flickering, and Rosario feels dizzy. Right before her eyes, she sees the spirit of her deceased mother approaching her. She knows it's not really her mother, yet seeing her brings tears to her eyes. She begins to apologize to her mother, regretting not being there during her final moments. But the moment her focus wavers, the demon reveals its true form and attacks her. Rosario somehow escapes its grip, but no matter where she goes, the demon keeps chasing her. Rosario doesn't give up. She picks up the book again and starts chanting the spell written in it, trying to trap the demon permanently inside her grandmother's body. As the chant nears completion, the demon spirit slowly begins to merge into the grandmother's body. Rosario breathes a sigh of relief. By morning, her father arrives at the apartment. But the story ends here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Also, subscribe to this channel for more stories like this.